Hi, welcome to A4H Financial Coaching. My name is Jordan Mitchell. I am your financial coach, and today we're moving on from PLDs, and we're going to be looking at some offenses and defenses to really gain wealth in your life as well as protect it. And I was a goalie in soccer as I played, so I love defense, and even in basketball, I always love the defensive end more. And therefore, we're going to start with defense. So today, we're going to talk about a very unpopular topic in America, which is your death and my death and everybody's death, because that is going to happen at some point in the future. And hopefully for all of us, it's not for many years. However, it does happen and we need to be prepared for it. So there's two things we're going to mainly talk about today: life insurance and what you need and what type of coverages you want to look for, and then also the importance of having a will, okay, which I know many people do not have, and I'm going to show you what happens if you don't have a will and you die. So let's start with life insurance. First objection: I'm not going to die anytime soon. I really don't need life insurance. Well, I honestly live on a drag strip. It's called 22 Mile. And I've seen numerous accidents. This area down in Southeast Michigan is crazy. The drivers could drive for NASCAR because the things that they can do with a car in the middle of a light while it's red is impressive. Now, I don't drive daily thinking like, hey, I'm going to die today, but accidents happen. Accidents happen. And if I'm thinking, okay, what if I was in an accident? And what if I did die? Now my income's gone, and what does my wife have? She works, so there is an income coming in, but without me there, is she going to be able to continue that work while we have 6 kids? And the same thing goes the other way, right? If my wife was to pass away, would I be able to work full-time while taking care of our kids, right? Because we have an 11-year-old, 9, 7, and then down to the 2-month-old, right? The answer is no, right? We also choose to homeschool, so therefore, if we want to be able to continue doing that, it involves one of us being home. And if there's only one of us, that person's got to be home and not able to work a full-time job. So what happens? Well, you have life insurance. Now, Ramsey suggests 10 to 12 times the number of, or the salary that you make per year. So if you're making $100,000 a year, you should have about $1 million policy. Okay, and that gives your family 10 years of your income without you being there. Now, they're not just going to let that money sit in a savings account. Obviously, you're going to put it in a low-risk investment. So it's not just going to be 10 years, but it can continue. And, you could probably, depending on your interest rate, squeeze it out to 14, 15, 16 years even. Okay, 16 years. My youngest is, 2 months. So if I was to die today and I had this money and my family could survive on it for 16 years, my youngest is now just over 16, and therefore my wife would have 1 kid at home, and obviously a teenager, so you could, still work and while they're going to school and stuff. Okay. So you got to have it. I know you don't plan on dying, but you got to have it. Now, the other objection is it costs too much. Okay. My wife and I, the first time we got life insurance was when we were 25, and we got whole life insurance, which sticks with you the one price for the whole rest of your life. It sounded great, and it sounded like they're going to invest the money that you put in to make money. It really hasn't done what it said it was going to do. So we're actually in the process of transferring over to a term life, and we're going for $750,000 each. Well, just to give you an idea of price, we're getting 3 times the amount of coverage in life insurance, and we're going to pay about half of what we were paying before. So term life's much cheaper. It's a much better way to go. Now, the third objection is this. Well, what if I don't die? Let's say I have a 30-year policy, and let's say you're 25 and you get a policy, $1 million policy is $33 a month for a female, and that's going to be $400 a year. So that's like $12,000 over the next 30 years that you spent. And once term life ends, it ends. You don't have it anymore. Okay. Well, that's for $1 million policy. Again, we have to play defense at times, right? And insurance is defense. So if you were to say, hey, $12,000 over the course of 30 years for the ability to receive, for my family to receive $1 million, anytime over that 30 years, think about it. If that's the time, if you're 25, that's 25 to 55. There's a lot that goes on in those 30 years. Obviously, we don't want anyone dying early, but accidents happen, and we have to play defense. Otherwise, our family, it's going to be a really tough situation already because they've lost a parent, but it's going to be even tougher when they start thinking about, now I'm going to lose the car or I'm going to lose the house because we don't have any money. Okay. So that's life insurance. Again, it's not going to get any cheaper, right? As you get older, it gets more expensive. So get it now and get that safety net in place. And I guarantee, you're like, oh, I'll just put it off a little bit. There are cases where people are in the process of getting life insurance and they die before it was finalized and their families get nothing. Or they just weren't even thinking about life insurance and they die and their families got nothing, okay? I don't want that to happen to your family, nor do you. So get life insurance today. I'll put a link for a great website that they'll handle all your insurance needs. It's been nice and quick. Took me about 15 minutes so far of my time to get on this process. It's not hard. Now, the second thing we need to talk about is a will, which more people don't have than life insurance, okay? And a will is just a written out plan of how your estate is going to be dispersed when you die. Now, obviously, if you're married, hopefully you own everything with your spouse. When you die, your spouse is still on those things so they can still access it. But what happens is if you have something that's not in each other's names, right, and you just in your name only, and you die without a will, well, then it's going to go to the courts. Okay, now just think about that. It's going to go to the courts. What does that make it seem like? One, it's going to take forever, and two, it's going to be expensive. Okay, where do they get the money from? They get it from your estate. So you've saved this money, you've invested this money, you got all this stuff that you've accumulated that you want to give away at your death because you can't take it with you. And what are they going to do with it? Well, the court's going to appoint someone and follow state law, depending on where you live, in giving certain amounts of money to certain people, such as a surviving spouse or children, or how they're going to divvy up property. Okay, it's a mess. You're letting the courts and a judge decide where your stuff goes and how much goes where. It's yours. It's your life's work. Why are you going to let somebody else do it? Okay, I know the other objection, right? I don't have time to do a will. You can do a will online, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If you don't have a lot of assets that you need to divvy up, it's not that long. In fact, my next date night with my wife, we're doing our will. It's not the greatest date night ever, but it needs to happen. And the cost, right? You don't have to sit down with a lawyer, and spend thousands of dollars doing a will. $200. You can do it on, I think the website's LegalZoom. $200 to get a will. And that $200 today is going to save all those costs and all the time that a probate judge and a probate court's going to have to spend trying to figure out where your stuff goes. But if you are a parent, the number one reason why you need a will is because if you don't have one and both spouses die, your kids are left up to the judge of who to place them with. I want you to think about that. This isn't just your stuff. These are your kids. And if you, in a will, you name who will be the guardian of your children if both of you shall pass. If you don't have that, then the judge is going to have to interview family. He's going to have to interview the kids. He's going to have to interview, and it's his determination or her determination who your kids go and live with. Now, I hope, right, that we all have a little bit of crazy in my family. I'm the crazy in my family. But I want you to think about that. Your kids would be up to the judge where they go live. And as a parent, that shouldn't be a judge choice. That should be a me choice. It has to be a me choice because these are my children. So if you don't have life insurance, if you don't have a will, guess what? I just planned your next date night for you. Now, the one other thing I'll say is like maybe someone's just out of high school or they're, in their early 20s, like I'm not married, I don't have, a family I'm taking care of. So why do I need life insurance? Well, think about it. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be today. So why not get it, if you're 20 and then you're protected all the way till you're 50 with a 30-year policy? Because you will at one point have a family and have a spouse and have things you're taking care of. So get it today. Get it today. It really isn't that hard. You just have to make the choice to go play some defense because if you don't, you'll get burned. So a little bit of a depressing video only because it's about death, but if we're prepared for it, It's going to sting because your family's going to lose you, but at least they're not losing everything else with you. So if you have questions about it or have any thoughts, please send me a message and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for a wonderful Wednesday. This is Jordan Mitchell, your financial coach with A4H Financial Coaching. God bless. Talk to you tomorrow.